Happy gecko.
Where did the gecko go? Oh no, did I pull him out and not put him away? Really?
Let me put her back. Well, I have to stay calm, I guess.
What?
I just gotta stay calm. Okay.
For those of you that have been watching our channels, mine, Amazing Animal Adventures, and Go Herping recently, you guys will have heard a lot about Emerald Scales, which is basically a new project. You can learn all about it in links in the description, all that fun stuff. But anyways, today we have our two newest arrivals here at Emerald Scales. These are a pair of leopard geckos.
This is just what we assume is a normal female leopard gecko, adult, looking good, very healthy.
She is like a prime condition, and this one is one that may or may not be for sale as of right now. Alex has been smitten.
The far majority of the animals, so far this is the only one that I've considered keeping myself, but we'll see.
This one you will have known about if A, you follow us on Instagram _Emerald Scales, or B, you watch the little live stream on my channel that we did a couple minutes ago. I don't know how long ago it was in relation to this video, but we just streamed it a couple minutes ago about unboxing and stuff. But this is a Mac Super Snow, so it's basically just a duplication of the Mac Snow gene on itself, because for every coding of allele, there's two genes and you can have one or both of them. And Snow is a codominant gene, so it's laid over itself, and then it's called a Super Snow. So today we're going to talk about 5 reasons leopard geckos make awesome pets.
Starting with number 1, it's just such an easy animal to care for, one of the easiest lizards that you could possibly keep. Of course, there are lots of things that you do need to remember, but overall it's very manageable, very simple, and very affordable.
They have care requirements that can be met by pretty much any keeper. Very easy, very basic, definitely what I would recommend as a beginner lizard. Number 2, they come in all different kinds of paint jobs and morphs and colors. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is a Mac Super Snow, which is of course very different from the normal. Both are pretty in their own respective ways, but if you're looking for a specific color or shade, chances are you can find them with leopard geckos. There are so many different designs out there. Partially because leopard gecko morphs come in 2 forms. They can be morphs that are controlled by 1 or 2 genes, like a Super Snow, or they can be polygenic. And what that means is that it's line bred. You can think of that more as dog breeds. They're built over generations and generations of breeding certain dogs with certain traits to get a certain result, as opposed to something like albinism, where it's just one gene that's controlling a major change in the phenotype of the animal.
The nice thing about this, speaking of affordability, is there are so many different price points with them, so whether you have a very high budget or a very low budget, you'll pretty much always find a really beautiful gecko, regardless of just how much money you have available. So if you're looking for a pet reptile or any pet at all, but you are limited on space or people really don't want to notice your animal anywhere, leopard geckos are a great option because they're just so minimal. They take up very little space. You really don't even notice them once they're all set up and good to go. Because of course they like to climb around and explore at times, but because they are so small and are reptiles, they really don't need a full room or some massive enclosure.
Getting more into your individual leopard gecko and just the individuality of leopard geckos, they have a lot of personality for a lizard. You know, some species can be more or less the same. I know there's always some variation between individuals, but leopard geckos especially are ones that show a lot of personality and just different activities and behaviors that you can see varying from leopard gecko to leopard gecko.
For example, just between these 2 geckos, my other one that you've seen, Goldie, he's not big into handling or activity. He just tends to sleep around and come out, and he's quite the vicious eater. But other than that, he tends to just hang around and not do much, which is not at all bad. Meanwhile, she is just constantly moving. She won't stop. She'll just walk straight into your hand. So it's not even any sort of genetic thing. It's just personalities time to time vary between individuals quite a bit.
Even between the 2 of these, which were still very unfamiliar with. We're still getting used to them. This one already seems more flighty and more ready to make a run for it than that one. That one seems much more chill and relaxed. They're both pretty chill. But if you put this one on the ground, he'll make a run for cover or somewhere to go.
Even just looking at the physical aspects of the geckos, there's a lot of unique traits about them that you don't necessarily see tying into other geckos or lizards or reptiles in general.
They've got these really bulky, beefy tails, which is so cool looking at. It reminds me of a beehive, the way that there's all these different segments. It's really, really interesting. And then, you know, that's all kind of thick and fat back there. And then it's almost as thick as the inside of their body, so they kind of go from a point, and they get really wide at the head, and then they kind of thin out the neck, and they get wide at the body again, and then thin out right between the back and the tail, you know, right where the legs are, and then they get thick at the tail again. They're kind of like a wavy, blobby worm creature with legs. Leopard geckos are one of the gecko species that don't have a clear scale plate over their eye, like crested geckos and lots of other stereotypical geckos.
And unlike a lot of other geckos, which are generally arboreal or semi-arboreal, these do not have toe pads, so they can't exactly stick to walls or anything. They do have these little tiny claws at the end of each, so they can climb some stuff pretty well, but they really don't need to be able to, since they hang out on the land pretty much all the time.
So those are our 5 quick points on why leopard geckos make amazing pets. Remember, these two guys, well, at least this one, will be for sale at Emerald Scales once he's in prime condition. He does have a few issues, so he has some calcium deposits around his arms, and a little bit of something going on with his tail that we're still trying to figure out. But I think the tail's harmless, but we do need to get rid of these calcium deposits, which is probably from an overload of calcium in the past.
Are you gonna do an outfit? I can't even feel
Want
where
me to
she
get
is. Sure. Good, that feels nice.
Just petting it. Oh gosh, this guy almost tried to make a run for it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.